Yeah, so my Twitch career got off to a flyer this week.
You're not going to score from there. Oh, that's filth.
And yeah, I ended up losing that game 3-2. Welcome back to Sam Thorley News, the news show that convinces you to leave your girlfriend and then slide into a DMs the very next day. Another fine week of news. We'll start across the pond. The aftermath of the US elections heating up as a March for Trump event was held on Friday in Washington, D.C. Attendees at the event included some relatively normal Trump supporters and then some right-wing nutters known as the Proud Boys. Like most people, when I first heard of the Proud Boys, I just assumed they were a gay rights organisation. And I don't want to speculate on their stance towards LGBT issues, but having done some digging online, if I had to guess, I'd say not favourable. If you haven't heard of the Proud Boys, they're a far-right group whose members boast of being Western chauvinists and also take an oath in which they promise to only masturbate once a month. I wonder how many members actually stick to that pledge. My guess, probably 0. If you fancy joining the Proud Boys, then you better make sure you can name 5 brands of cereal while being punched in the midriff by 5 strangers. I wish that was a joke, but that's genuinely the initiation ceremony that they do.
3, 2, 1. Great nuts! One! Cheerios!
So the March for Trump was billed as the Million MAGA March, but it seemed about 990,000 of the MAGA million got the wrong address. It's only about 10,000 turned up. Donald Trump was so overwhelmed by the support that instead of speaking at the event, he decided to drive through quickly, give a quick thumbs up, and then head off to the golf course. In news a little closer to home, PM Boris Johnson sacked his chief advisor Dominic Cummings earlier this week. Johnson gave the dark sif of the Vote Leave Empire the shove after tensions came to a head between Cummings and Boris's partner, Carrie Simmons. We all know Boris stood by Cummings earlier this year when he creatively stretched the limits of the COVID travel restrictions with a 500-mile trip to Durham and then a day trip to Barnard Castle. But Boris drew the line earlier this week and made it clear to Cummings, I can tolerate you fundamentally undermining the government's response to the COVID pandemic, but I simply will not tolerate you being a little bit rude to my girlfriend. You offend Carrie, you carry that box out the door. Interesting that he decided to walk out the front door in front of all the cameras. Slightly less important, Harry Kane had his $100,000 car stolen this week. The thieves proved that Premier League defences aren't the only things being unlocked, as they managed to gain access using an electronic device. If I spent $100,000 on a car and someone managed to gain entry with a laptop, I'd be asking some questions. Harry, you want to follow my lead, get one of those Vauxhall Corsas. Might not look as flashy, but you'll save a fortune, and the only way into one of those is with a brick through the window. Or the key, obviously. Even less important news, as you saw at the beginning of the video, my Twitch career got off to a flyer this week. I embarrassed myself a couple of times. Here's another example.
Let's play a bit of possession football, boys. That's unbelievable.
But despite the defeat to Birmingham, I had a great time on the stream. Going to be streaming most nights of the week at 9 PM, so follow me on Twitch and watch me embarrass myself. Thanks for watching again, guys. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video this week. If I do it again next week, that'll be my 4th week in a row, which will make it the longest I've ever committed to anything, apart from my marriage. That's still going strong.